Yeah, in terms of sparring, we got some great guys coming in. Some really experienced southpaws that are smaller. I think Montana Love is coming in. Shakur Stevenson wants to come in. Jermaine Ortiz. We're gonna hit up Erickson, Lubin, some of these guys. So we're just gonna bring in a plethora of fighters that are fast, quick, shifty southpaws.
Canelo Alvarez. Shakur Stevenson has no relationship with Jake Paul. None. We heard, oh, Boots is a sparring partner. How much you got paid for that? So now, isn't that also applicable to Shakur Stevenson? Is he not also a sellout?
It's honest, but again, I want to see them fight. I want to see some aggression. Tank would have that if it was anyone he actually felt was worth it. I just don't know if he thinks Jake's worth it. Again, I get that feeling that he just is there.
Jake Paul's latest move is bringing in Shakur Stevenson to spar ahead of his fight with Gervonta Davis. Paul mentioned that Stevenson himself wanted to help and join the camp, which adds weight to his preparation. He explained that his team has gathered several skilled southpaws, experienced fighters who are smaller than him but capable of giving him the right looks. Shakur's name stood out since no prior link existed between him and Paul. Still, Paul believed that working with Stevenson and other sparring partners will sharpen his game as he prepares for challenge against Tank. Some analysts have raised questions about the sudden connection between Jake Paul and Shakur Stevenson, calling it suspicious and unusual.
Sparring, we got some great guys coming in. Some really experienced southpaws that are smaller. I think Montana Love is coming in. Shakur Stevenson wants to come in. Jermaine Ortiz. We're gonna hit up Erickson, Lubin, some of these guys. So we're just gonna bring in a plethora of fighters that are fast, quick, shifty.
They argue that Stevenson seems to have sold himself into sparring work the way Jiren Boots Ennis did when he helped Canelo Alvarez prepare for Terrence Crawford. What makes this situation stand out is a lack of any prior relationship between Paul and Stevenson. Boots had a history with Canelo as their families had connections, making it easier to understand why that arrangement was made. In Shakur's case,
Shakur Stevenson reached out to Jake Paul in support of him preparing for Gervonta Davis. Help me understand, what is the difference between Boots Ennis reaching out to Canelo Alvarez in support of his preparation for Terrence Crawford versus Shakur Stevenson reaching out to Jake Paul in preparation for his fight with Gervonta Davis? Tell me, what is the difference? I'll tell you what the difference is. The Ennis family actually had a relationship with Canelo Alvarez. Shakur Stevenson has no relationship with Jake Paul. None. We heard, oh, Boots is a sparring partner. How much you got paid for that? So now, isn't that also applicable to Shakur Stevenson? Is he not also a sellout? I don't want to hear anything about this fight. It's against a YouTuber, it doesn't matter. No, Shakur Stevenson is an elite level fighter that is going to be a sparring partner to a YouTuber, and he reached out to him.
There is no
directly
shared background
to
or
make it
personal ties
happen?
with Paul, so some observers suspect that money played a big role. The belief is that Paul may have offered Stevenson significant financial incentives to come on board. This fuels debates about whether Stevenson's decision is purely business-driven rather than boxing-inspired, as it marks an unusual partnership between two fighters with no past association. Shakur Stevenson himself has tried to clarify his stance when asked about the Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis matchup. He explained that if he were in Tank's position,
You blame a man for taking that opportunity because this is prize fighting, right? It's about making money and securing your family. Can you fault him for that?
It's two sides of that. Like,
Okay.
It just depends. As a fighter, just because I had a draw with somebody, for me, I may run it back. But in a business aspect, if you run it back and you lose to Lamont, and then the Jake Paul fight is presented, you may not make as much money, or the fight may not be as lucrative as it was before you lost. So as a business, I understand. I ain't going to hate on the decision, but as a man
Your
and
pride
as
will
a
get in the way.
fighter with my integrity.
Yeah, but isn't there a price for everything, Shakur? Like, even if you had a draw with somebody and you were offered 10 times more than you ever, I don't know what the number is, but it's a lot more than he's ever made.
he would view such a fight from two different perspectives. From the business side, it makes sense because of the financial opportunities and the attention it can bring. However, as a fighter, Stevenson admitted that he personally would not take such a fight. His words underline the difference between seeing boxing as a career move and seeing it as pure competition. While some critics suggest a sparring role with Jake Paul might appear questionable, Shakur openly admits that financial considerations influence these choices by separating business from fighter pride. He highlights how modern boxing often blurs the line between sporting credibility and entertainment. During the official press conference, tension flared between Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis when the two fighters faced off. They ended up shoving each other, sparking immediate reactions from fans and media. However, many analysts believe this confrontation was part of the entertainment strategy rather than a genuine clash.
Matchup, left hand down the pipe. You can even see here, I'm not even trying to do the whole body language breakdown, but you could even see Tank could get under that left hand because he's 5-0. He could roll under that left hand, and here comes the brick hand over the top. If he lands something like that in 10 ounces, I'm going to tell you this. Jake's 200 and something pounds. That's still going to hurt at the very least, and who knows what, because Tank's got ridiculous power. So Jake, a little sloppy on the push there. He got pushed. He wanted to get it back. There's something to be taken away from that, but lines up perfectly for a counter left hand. And you even see his promoter here is kind of grabbing his left hand because Tank wanted to let it fly. And Jake backed up a little bit. He said, oh, and Tank comes from that. Tank, man. Tank said, where I'm from, the bullies get bullied. All right, dude, there you go. Listen, takeaways from this thing, I don't know. Tank seemed to have a little bit more energy today. He seemed to be more lively. Him going back and forth with the media, with Jay Leon, with Jake, with Aiden Ross. There seemed to be a bit more energy today. That's all I really asked for. So in terms of, selling us on something, sure. Better job today from both guys. Jake, seemed a bit more locked in here with Tank as well. They had a little bit more fun. Tank going after Nikisa was pretty funny. But listen, this doesn't change anything in my mind. The 10-ounce gloves doesn't really change anything to me. I mean, again, I think that's a bad idea for Tank, more so because even if Jake doesn't land clean, those are 10-ounce gloves. It's still going to hurt. Tank is still punching in gloves that are 2 ounces heavier than he normally uses, so I don't know how that's a win for him. The $2 million bet almost certainly won't happen, which I didn't think would in the first place, but Tank pretty much confirmed it. And we're all left with the same kind of idea that we thought about this to begin with. This is an entertainment exhibition that we know is going to draw a ton of eyeballs. I'm going to watch, and there's going to be great high-level competition boxing on the underneath card. And even in the main event, if something is to happen, if someone is to get knocked out, it will go mega viral. And both these guys...
Today's boxing market. Physical confrontations at press events are often designed to create viral moments and attract attention to the pay-per-view. The push between Jake and Tank plays directly into the narrative of the fight, being both spectacle and competition. The build-up emphasizes the entertainment aspect, seeing whether a bigger fighter can impose his strength on a smaller, more skilled fighter, or whether the smaller man can overcome size with speed and technique.
Particular in the press conference, and you can just look at him and tell, like, no, this dude he's gonna get this money for sure, because there's so much money out there to be had. But Jake Paul better be not playing around, man. Not get cute, not play any games. Don't hit him in the back of the head. Don't rabbit punch him. Don't do any of that stuff, man, because Mike Tyson. First of all, Mike Tyson, a lot of people think Mike Tyson was pulling punches on Jake Paul, and a lot of people think that Anderson Silva was pulling punches on him too. You're not going to have a little Gervonta out there pulling punches on you, man, if you're out there playing games. So, I don't like the fight at all. However, as far as it being an entertaining situation, I almost guarantee you that fight itself is going to be entertaining. That it's going to be something that you look at and you're going to say, man, everybody's going to watch it. Everybody's going to want to know what happens in it. But at the same time, it's kind of like what people think, when you see a car crash, like you're driving down the road and all of a sudden the traffic gets heavy and you're like, man, I'm going to be in traffic for a long time. And then you drive forward a little bit and then you see, oh man, this is some accident on the other side of the road and everybody just slowing down to watch. That's the type of entertainment that you can expect from this fight between Gervonta Davis and Jake Paul. There's going to be a lot of people watching it, but I got to say, man, you really can't blame the guy on what he's doing. And there's a lot of criticism flying on Gervonta Davis. It's not Gervonta Davis's fault that boxing took this.
This stage drama ensures that even casual viewers will be curious to tune in on fight night. Despite the entertainment-driven promotion, boxing insiders insist that Gervon Davis is not treating this fight as a joke. Analysts have pointed out his body language in his preparation, suggesting that Tank is locked in and determined. They highlight that the stakes are higher than many realize. By beating Jake Paul, Davis could secure both a massive payday and greater mainstream recognition. Experts warn that Paul should not underestimate Tank the way he might have underestimated older opponents like Mike Tyson in promotional discussions. Unlike exhibition fighters, Davis is in his prime and known for ferocity inside the ring. If Paul approaches this fight casually, the results could be disastrous for him. The seriousness Davis brings to the training camp shows that he is fully aware of the financial rewards, but also the risks of losing to a YouTuber turned boxing commentator. Showbiz the Adult has taken a strong stance on what a Tank Davis victory would mean. He believes that if Tank beats Jake Paul, he would become a hero for the boxing community and casual fans alike.